Welcome to FG Mania. In 2015, Life is Strange released and received a lot of praise. 4 years after Life is Strange Before the Storm, and most recently, Life is Strange True Colors was released. Does the story in True Colors still retain its charm like its previous versions? Let's explore the plot of the game Life is Strange True Colors.
I hadn't seen my brother Gabe in years.
Alex! It's just so good to see you again. Welcome to Haven.
This place is pretty sweet.
I'm glad you two met. Is this dude my best friend?
And this dude
4 years after Life is Strange Before the Storm came out, Deck 9 is back with the latest game in this series. In the reunion with the audience, Life is Strange True Colors has shown the developers' meticulous product refinement over the years. Made in the genre of interactive story games that focuses on story with multiple choice, Life is Strange True Colors is a product familiar to fans of this genre. Unlike games like Call of Duty or God of War, Life is Strange True Colors' plot is only about one person's tragedy in a small town. However, this has a huge impact on those around you and your family. Let's start the story now. Since Life is Strange is an interactive story game, so every play is a different journey, this plot is told by me according to my choices in the game. Life is Strange True Colors begins with a girl sitting in an interview with psychiatrist Lynn. In the conversation we know a girl named Alex, about to leave the orphanage to live with his brother Gabe, in the village of Haven Springs, Colorado. She has no definite plans to return to school or a job, and is also trying to hide a special mental problem that she and Dr. Lynn have been researching recently. The morning of April 28, 2019, young girl Alex Chen get off the bus in front of the remote Haven Springs village gate in Colorado. In front of her eyes is a wooden bridge decorated with flowers that cross the stream and lead to the main road of the village. The girl crosses the bridge and is overwhelmed by its shimmering colors. On the other side of the stream, Wild Deers is wandering by the bank looking for food, as if he doesn't care much for the human presence. What a beautiful natural setting. At this moment a man appears at the other end. It is Gabe Chen, Alex's brother. He walk over to Alex, mixed emotions because the two brothers have been separated for 8 years, before he found a way to contact her recently. Gabe lead Alex into the village. By the way, he stops by the fresh flower shop in the alley to buy a bouquet of flowers. He said that he had just angered his girlfriend Charlotte, so now he has to buy a gift to apologize to her. Fresh flower shop owned by Mrs. Eleanor Lethe, but today her granddaughter, Riley Lethe, looks after her. After the introduction, Riley asked Alex's opinion on answering the graduate school interview question. She said she was applying for admission at a school quite far away. She is young, so she wants to continue her education. Riley was only afraid that her boyfriend, Mac Loudon, would object, so she did not dare to tell him. She secretly asks Gabe to help prepare the file. While Alex helped Gabe choose flowers, Riley also badly told her brother that, with his naughty nature, Gabe has to buy a gift to apologize almost every day. The two left Riley to go to Charlotte's shop. Charlotte is a single mother living with her young son Ethan after divorcing her ex-husband. She is a local artist and makes a living from a grass shop. Occasionally make artworks for sale or portraits on request. While Gabe goes inside to give flowers, Alex meets Ethan walking outside. The boy is quite friendly, loves comic books, and when he learned that Alex also had the same hobby, he gave her a book he drew himself. The two get along quite well, and when feeling confident, Ethan reveals that he likes to sneak out to the abandoned mine to explore. After saying goodbye, Ethan and Gabe haven't come back yet. Alex decided to enter the record store across the street because she was also a music fanatic. Here, Alex meets Stephanie Gingrich, is the owner and DJ for the village's own radio channel Haven Springs. Since Steph is busy running the radio, Alex walks around the shop and meets Ryan Lucan, Gabe's best friend. Ryan is an employee of the ranger station in the area, with the main job of managing forests, forest resources, hunting and even rescue in the forest. While chatting, Steph opened the door and walked out of the soundproof room, and talking on the phone to someone looking very angry. Alex panicked as the influence of anger took hold of his mind. Ryan noticed the abnormality and intervened by interrupting Steph, and said he would look after the shop for her, she just went to take care of the business. Thanks to this, Steph walks out of the store before Alex collapses in panic.
You're a lifesaver. Oh, no bird calls though. I'll be there, one sec.
When he learned that Alex was going to buy a gift for his brother, then Ryan said that Gabe was putting down a deposit for a new record. This will be a surprise if Alex uses it as a gift. Alex agrees, but as soon as he pays, Gabe comes in to pick up his sister. Ryan thoughtfully covered the record on the table while Gabe was talking to his brother, and then attracted the attention of his best friend so that Alex quickly put the box of records in his backpack. Mac was just here, he wanted to talk to him. On the way home, Gabe introduced Haven Springs. This is a village erected by miners hundreds of years ago. Currently, mining activities continue with Typhon Group as the investor, and instead of mining ore for raw materials, they now mine uranium. At night, they still blast the rocks to break the rock, creating the characteristic noises. The two meet a stern-looking old man introduced by Gabe as Jed Lucan. He is the owner of the bar where Gabe works and Ryan's father. Jed is also the chairman of the residential council. He's owned the Black Lantern Bar for about 12 years after quitting his job as a miner in Typhon.
I'm loquacious, goddammit. It's charming.
Jed said goodbye and told them to go back to the shop first, and he was going to see Mrs. Eleanor to discuss the preparations for the annual village festival that was to be held in the next few days. Jed also warns Gabe that Mac seems very angry, be careful. Gabe took Alex to his own room on the upper floor of the bar. He said that he would give this place to Alex because he had moved to his girlfriend Charlotte's house to live together. Alex also gives Gabe a record he ordered from Steph's record store. The two turned on music and danced together like when they were children. As he was walking, there was a loud knock on the door. They turned off the music and Gabe opened the door. Mac jumps into the room to attack Gabe, thinking he's sneaking up on Riley to cheat on him. Mac beats up Gabe, but his anger causes Alex to lose control. Alex was carried away by Mac's anger, and rushed in and pushed Mac out the door and beat him in the face. Gabe jumped in to pull Alex out and she hit his face with her hand. Realizing she hit her brother causes Alex's madness to subside and she regains control. Mac managed to get up after a while and walked downstairs in a state of confusion. Gabe calmed down after a while. He wasn't angry but seemed shocked, only instructing Alex to pack his things first. Alex, after cleaning up his things for a while, discovered an interesting secret. Gabe had bought a guitar for her and it was hidden under the bed. Ethan's book is pretty good, too. It tells the story of the hero Thaner who is adventuring in a dungeon. He has the temperament of a real cartoonist. With everything done, Alex walked down to the bar to explain everything. Everyone is present now. Ryan takes Gabe back to his workstation to get a first aid kit and bandages, and Mr. Jed had already taken care of Mac's wound. Charlotte is also present and meets Alex for the first time. Because Gabe has to be bandaged, Alex takes a temporary position as a waiter to help Jed at the bar. There she became acquainted with Reginald McAllister III, with the nickname Ducky. This old man is a retired businessman. Sitting with him was Diane, who managed Typhon's mining in the village. Alex also spoke directly to Steph for the first time, and realizes Steph, Ryan and Gabe are best friends. Riley ran to find Mac when he heard he beat Gabe. She is extremely angry while Mac is very scared that this will cause her to be broken up. Alex tries to avoid mentioning Mac fighting Gabe, in order to help him get out of this case and also prevent the hatred from growing further. Deputy Sheriff Jason Pike stepped forward with a serious expression, demanding that Alex and Gabe be interrogated. But when she was confused, he burst out laughing and said he was just joking.
Your face.
Jason has a duty to look after the security in this village, and he also had a hilarious punishment with Gabe, when the result after writing the ticket was that he invited Gabe out for a beer. Gabe and Ryan return. His job was done by Alex, so there's nothing left to do. He called Alex to the rooftop to talk. The terrace above Gabe's room is a small garden, with some flowers and swivel tables and chairs to watch the sunset. Gabe opened a beer and the two brothers talked. Alex confesses her mental problems to explain her frenzied attack on Mac. She grew up in an orphanage, where the children often fought for competition or conflict, so she doesn't mind fighting to defend herself. During his time at the orphanage, Alex had a strange illness that she can feel other people's emotions by the colored aura radiating around them. The stronger the emotion, the more affected Alex is. It can cause her to lose control of being swept along if it's too strong. Ryan stepped up and said, Eden had gone somewhere and was nowhere to be found in the village. At this point, Alex mentions that Ethan talked about going up to the old mines of adventure. The three quickly ran up to the old abandoned mine on the hill on the outskirts of the village. This is an old mine that has run out of resources, so it was closed by Typhon. There is also a plaque remembering the event 12 years ago. It was a mine collapse and Jed bravely led the 19 surviving miners out in time. He became the hero of the village, and Typhon bought the village bar as a gift to him as a tribute. Ryan is so proud of his father that he joins Ranger, and learn how to rescue to save many people like his father. Gabe called Typhon asking to stop the blasting schedule tonight, because this area is within range of influence that could harm Ethan. Based on a storybook that Ethan drew inspired by this area, they found the boys stuck at the edge of a stream in the woods. Ryan used a rope to tie one end to Gabe as an anchor, and the other end for Alex to let her go through the rotten tree trunk to the hole where Ethan was stuck. Only the lightest Alex can pass. Ethan didn't dare come out for fear. Alex had to use his power to blend into Ethan's emotional world to know what the boy was afraid of. It turns out that Ethan is not afraid of heights, but is afraid of the monster in his imagination. Alex quickly reassures Ethan properly, calms him down, and follows her back to safety. While everyone was having fun, suddenly there was the sound of landmines exploding in the mountains. A stone hit Gabe and he fell over the cliff, dragging Alex with him. Ryan grabbed Alex and tried to pull Gabe back up with her, but other stones rolled down from the mountain. Ryan reflexively pulled out a knife to cut the rope and sacrificed Gabe, then dragged Alex and Ethan to the overhanging ledge to hide the rolling stone. Gabe fell into the cliff and was crushed to death by a landslide. People gathered at the bar to commemorate Gabe. Ryan was angry, thinks Gabe's death was not an accident, because he called Typhon asking to stop the blasting that night to go find Ethan. Mac now says he was on duty that night and didn't get any calls. Ryan was angry that Mac killed Gabe because of his own vendetta. Mac retaliated by questioning Ryan's act of cutting the cord at that time. Charlotte was angry when the memorial turned into chaos, and Alex burst into tears and ran upstairs. Steph saw Alex running upstairs, then followed her and knocked on the door to the room with the intention of comforting the girl. However, when she saw the bottle of wine labeled, "Table Football Champion," kept on the shelf, Steph herself fell into grief. Alex then used the ability he used with Ethan the day before to blend into Steph's emotional world. Turns out, Steph used to work in a band that toured around the world. When she came here to perform, she met Gabe and they became close. When she learns that Steph is about to leave, Gabe convinces her to stay in a very personal way. He challenged him to a game of table football. If he wins, she had to stay, and he lost the bus fare. Steph lost and left the band to stay in the village of Haven Springs. She opened a record store, got a job in the village radio station, and spent hours playing games with Gabe. Obviously, Gabe's death is a great loss to a close friend like Steph. Alex knows this and challenges Steph to a game of table football. They played hard and Steph's feelings of distress subsided. Now Alex and Steph have become close friends with similar musical interests. Back downstairs, Alex meets Jed and gets an apology from the old man, on behalf of the residents of the village when the memorial turned into a quarrel. Jed also handed over the house keys and allowed Alex to stay in Gabe's room for free. She can help with the shop's business while finding new directions. Alex expressed his intention to find Mac to ask why he lied about not receiving Gabe's phone that night. Alex went to the florist where Mac worked, but he had just left. Mrs. Eleanor looked very worried about something but didn't say it. Alex used his ability to mix with the old woman's worries. She realized that Eleanor was trying to hide her Alzheimer's disease. She was slowly forgetting everything, including short-term jobs. She even forgot that Gabe was dead. Alex immediately helped Eleanor remember his morning work, by leading her to trace each stage that took place early in the morning.
I don't want to keep you.
Alex left the flower shop and meets Mac at the flower bridge at the top of the village. He shows fear and refuses everything. Reading his fear, Alex is suggested to meet Riley. To break Mac's spirit, Alex went to meet Riley, and learned that Mac convinced his girlfriend to leave the village and run away. He seems to be afraid of Typhon's influence. Returning to Mac, Alex said exactly the weak point that caused him to panic and ran away. But then he calmed down and said that Typhon forced him to shut up, and said he never received a call from Gabe. In fact, he received it and reported it to his superiors, but for some reason they still blew it up. They then threatened and let his followers make him fear for his life. Typhon is a multinational corporation with a large scale and wide influence. They have a lot of power and are also the economic pillar of Haven Springs Village. Touching Typhon is like touching fire ant colonies. At the same time, Alex saw Diane walking around the village, warning the miners not to mention the accident. In the end, Alex needed someone to trust to unmask Typhon together. She thought of Ryan, so she went up the mountain to find him. Ryan was standing on the cliff near the waterfall with a strong wave of emotions. He blamed himself for the death of his best friend. It looked like he was about to jump. Alex rushed to hug Ryan again to help him calm down. Alex tried to explain his power to Ryan, and proved it by asking Ryan to think of something that makes him angry. However, Ryan concentrated on thinking for a moment, and then burst out laughing. He was lying on the grass, looking up at the sky, laughing louder and louder with a cheerful aura. Alex absorbed his emotion and learned the story of two jovial men. That year Gabe went hunting and killed a mallard. Ryan said it was a rare breed of duck that is considered the property of the Queen and is protected by Canadians. Ryan pretended to help Gabe cover up the dead duck by advising him to dig a burial pit. So while Gabe dug a huge hole to bury a duck, Ryan stood above. He couldn't help but laugh and told him to dig deeper just to be sure. When Alex read it, he also rolled on the lawn laughing with Ryan. After a long laugh, Alex told Ryan about Mac and his intentions against Typhon. Ryan immediately accepted to help and found a way to clarify Gabe's death. In the evening, Gabe's friends gathered at the flower bridge of the town to release the sky lanterns to pray for Gabe. Alex read that everyone radiated an aura of joy, but Diane radiated fear. In the morning, a group of friends Alex, Ryan, Steph gathered at the bar to discuss a plan to target Diane. She is hiding something, so they'll do a distraction and then steal the laptop to find information. Alex wasn't so sure, so she went out to talk to Diane first to get a sense of the situation. After using push information to maximize Diane's fear, Alex absorbed it into her emotions and discovered a secret hidden in a USB stick in her bag. Alex secretly texted the group of friends to start a diversion plan. They succeeded and Alex stole the USB drive upstairs, but it was locked with a password. Ryan immediately said he would bring Riley, who knows the most about computers, to find a way to crack it. Meanwhile, everyone went home to prepare for the role-playing that afternoon. Alex cosplays as a troubadour with his signature guitar and feathered hat. Alex also unpacked Gabe's belongings returned by forensics. Things in Gabe's bag included a wallet, keys, an unlocking tool and a strange match. It only has one last stick with the handwritten words, "Don't give up." Perhaps it is a lucky object in the sense that a match can still light up hope. She put them in her bag and went downstairs for a role-playing game. The LARP role-playing game, which was prepared by Steph with the participation of many villagers, has been planned for a long time. And recently, in order to comfort Ethan before Gabe's death, everyone are more and more prepared. Today is the day of the role-play. Alex was cast as a troubadour who accompanies Ethan as the hero Thaner. Alex went on an adventure with Ethan in the village, transformed into the atmosphere of a fantasy game with many villagers participating. Ryan was given the privilege of playing all kinds of monsters. Steph prepared with a lot of props and staging to make the village look like a real medieval fantasy world. After defeating the final boss played by Jed, Ethan was very happy because it was based on a comic he created.
Was fighting.
The joy was immediately extinguished when the explosion of rock breaking on the mountain resounded, reminiscent of that horrible night. Ethan broke down so quickly that Alex had to hug him and comfort it before negative emotions bring it down. Ethan then got in the car to go on vacation with his biological father elsewhere. Alex thought that Charlotte would be sad because she was alone, so she came to talk. In the composition room behind the store, she realized that Charlotte has her own problems, too. She was devastated by a strong anger. When immersed in Charlotte's inner self, Alex realized this woman has suffered greatly because of Gabe's death. Charlotte is mad at everyone for her involvement in Gabe's death, including Ethan. This anger can't be stopped because she can take her anger out on anyone, but she can't take it out on her son, Ethan. It is that contradiction that makes negative emotions go in a vicious circle with no way out. Alex wanted to try another way of sucking that anger into herself, but she wasn't sure it would work and wasn't sure what would. That's why she decided to let time soothe Charlotte, instead of trying to interfere with this heartbroken mother's feelings. Alex left a comforting note hoping Charlotte will get through this crisis. Back in the room, Ryan and Steph were already waiting with their USB unlocked. The contents of Diane's calls and emails show that Mac reported someone in the explosion area, but when Diane reported to headquarters, he was threatened not to stop the blasting. It would reveal the Rhea project they were secretly working on. Diane was also terrified, but she was caught up in Typhon's vortex of power. They offered many incentives and promised promotion, as well as providing all necessary support for Diane to quell this case. Diane reluctantly submits and begins planning to sink Gabe's death. Find out more. They know that Rhea is actually an unlicensed second explosion, planned at the same time as the licensed explosion in another area. It's an old abandoned mine. Typhon is trying to bury something secret before the inspection team comes to check periodically, prepare for the project to open a new mine. Typhon is actively campaigning, and the Haven Springs Resident Council is about to set a meeting to vote on this in the next few days. Alex decides to give the USB containing this information to Deputy Sheriff Jason as evidence to take down Typhon. So, not long after meeting her brother, Alex had to witness the sad death of her brother. It seemed just an accident, but in fact, Typhon was involved. A power is holding the economy in the village of Haven Springs. Will Alex and the villagers do anything to fight this corporation? Will Gabe's death be revealed? Let's find out how the story unfolds on the next video. And now, don't forget to give me a like and see you again.